Yeah. Hello everyone. Is my voice audible, guys? Okay. Let me know, guys. In case if there is any disturbance from my end, or if my voice delays, or if screen delays, or if voice breaks, feel free to let me know. Okay. So there is some network issue at my end. If there is any issue, if you guys are not able to listen properly, feel free to let me know. Okay. So in last session, we have started our discussion with the React routing, right? And we have seen how can we implement the React routing in React application. Basically, we have seen how we can implement routing in React application. So to implement React routing, can you guys tell me which package we have used to implement routing in React application? What is the name of that package? So it is a React router DOM. Okay. Tell me how many components React router DOM is providing to us. What are the components that React router DOM is providing to us? Can you guys list out all the components? Yes, browser router. Yes, something called routes, route, link. This is what we have seen in the last session, right? These are the four components which we have explored. Okay, cool. I hope you guys have found the answer for nav link, right? The difference between link and nav link. Okay, this was like your assignment, guys. Okay, so I just wanted to know whether you guys are exploring this concept or not. Very, very important concept and very important difference between the nav link and link. Okay. Now, if you remember, in yesterday's session, we have implemented this application, right? Basically, we have implemented routing. Like by default, we are showing home component. If I click on profile, I'm showing profile component. If I click on products, I'm showing products component. And in the products component, we are fetching the data from API and we are displaying in the card format. So whenever product component mounts, we are sending one request to a server, getting the data from that server, and we are displaying that data in the form of cards. And in every card, we have just added one button called product details. If I click on this button, we are navigating to the product details component. We are navigating to the product details component. In the same way, if I click on service, here as of now, we are not loading any component because we have not at all configured any route for this path. For this particular path, we have not configured any route. And if I click on help, now see here help. Now let's consider if user tries to add some path manually like this, some random path if is trying to add like this. Now if I click on enter, which component will mount here or which component will load now? Suppose if user is trying to change this path manually like this, some path he is typing, something, some random path he is typing, and he will click on enter. Whenever he click on enter, which component will mount here? Which component will load? It's not audible. Okay. Yeah. Which component will mount? For example, if user is typing here something like /help, which component will mount if I click on enter? Yes, I got help component. Manually, if I type here home, which component will mount? I think a lot of people are ready to give the party, right? The people who replied all are ready to give the party. Okay, here I will click on home. Which component is mounting? If I click on /home, did we configure any route with the path /home? Did you configure any route with the path /home? Just check your routes. Did you configure any path like a /home? No. Then how did you say that home component will mount? Means blindly you are giving the answers. Okay, don't give the blindly answers. Okay, and this is how in your interviews sometimes they will ask the questions in this tricky way. Okay, so whenever you are answering, make sure that you know exactly what you are answering and why you are answering. Okay, fine. Now see, if I just type something, some name here, and if that route is not configured in my application, it is showing here empty screen, right? We are showing empty screen. Now suppose if I add here something like this randomly something and click on enter, still we got empty screen. It means whenever something is not configured, whenever some path is not configured in our application, in that case it is showing the empty screen, means it is not mounting any component. Am I right? Whenever you try to add any path, and if that path is not configured in your application, in that case it is not mounting any component. It means it is showing us blank screen, right? So showing like this blank screen is not good experience, right? It is not a good user experience. So if user is trying to type something random path, then at least you have to show some message to the user here. Something like this page doesn't exist, or whatever path you have entered, it doesn't exist. Some message you have to give to the user, right? So that will make good user experience. So in that case, what we can do here, we can just configure one route, something like this. Route, path. Now path value as a star. Okay, path value as a star, nothing but your asterisk. And here element. Here we can render one element. Whatever element you want, you can render it. So what I will do, inside this components folder, I will create one component called page not found. Okay, I'm just creating one simple component called page not found. Inside this component, you can create whatever user interface you want to create. I'm simply saying here page not found, and I will add some style here. Something like color, I will try to make it red. Font size, okay, I will try to make it something like 52 pixel, and text align center. Okay, some component I have created and some user interface I have created. Now my requirement is whenever user will try to add any path here, if user is trying to add any path, and if that path is not configured in my application, in that case I want to render here page not found component. Whenever user try to visit any path, and if that path is not configured in my application, in that case, instead of showing like this empty screen, I want to show page not found component. Okay, so how can we do means, for that we have to add this special route with the path asterisk. We have to add asterisk, and here we have to import our page not found component, and we have to render that component. Now, whenever in your browser, if there is any path, and if that path is not configured in your application, in that case, it will execute this particular component. Nothing but it will render this particular component. Now, if you go back here, now see you got page not found. It means whenever you try to add any path here, any random path, and if this path is not configured in your application, in that case, it will show page not found. See, page not found. Now, if I add here help, now help is configured, right? Slash help is configured. In that case, it will mount help component. But here, if I try to add manually some path like this, now in my application, I don't have any path which is configured with this particular URL. So in that case, it will just show me the page not found. Page not found. Okay, yeah, you can create anything here. You can create any user interface. I'm just creating a simple page not found user interface. Okay. Okay, now profile, products, services. Now see, we don't have anything like slash service, right? In that case, it is showing page not found. If I click on help, I got help. Okay. Is it clear for everyone how to show page not found component? It's very simple. Just you have to add one extra route called path asterisk. Value should be asterisk only. Okay. It's predefined value asterisk. And whenever any path is not matching, in that case, it will render this page not found component. Yeah, basically it's a wildcard. Nice. Okay, this we are going to call as a wildcard. Yeah. So first it will try to match all the paths. If that is not matching with your browser URL paths or browser paths, in that case, it will execute this route. It will simply execute this route. Okay. Is it clear, guys, for everyone? Okay. Did you remember this products component? What we are doing in the product component? So basically here we have product component, right? Okay, this is our products component. Okay, now inside this products component, we are showing so many cards, right? This is the card 1, this is the card 2, something like card 3, card 4. In every card, we have a button. We have one button. Here also we have button. Here also we have button. Here also we have button. Now my requirement is very simple. If I click on this button, I am navigating to which component? Whenever I click on this button, I am navigating to which component? Yes, we are navigating to product details component. We are navigating to product details component. This is our product details component. Okay. Now my requirement is whenever I click on any card, that particular product data I want to pass to the product details. Whenever I click on any button, my requirement is that particular card details I want to give to the product details component. It means somehow we have to pass the data from product component to product details component. Now, can you guys tell me using which concept we can pass the data from products component to product details component? Using which concept we can pass the data from products component to product details component? I want to pass entire details. Okay, tell me if I want to pass the data like using props, then what kind of relation we should have between the components. If I want to pass any data as a props, what kind of relation we should have between the components? Parent child. Nice. If I want to pass the data using context, then what kind of relation should I have between the components? Ankit, get ready for party, huh? If I want to pass data using context, what should be the relation between the components? What kind of relation I should have? Here also again parent child only, right? This is what we have discussed. Now, if you want to pass the data from product to product details, can you tell me what is the relationship between these two components? Can you guys explain what is the relation between products and product details component? Yes. Parent child people. How parent child? In the products component, am I calling product details component? If I go back to my products component where I created here, in this products component, am I rendering product details component anywhere? Am I rendering product details component? In the products component, am I rendering any product details component? Just check here. If no, then how can they be in the parent child? Now here we have product, here we have product details. What is the relation between them? Siblings. Okay, if they are siblings, it will be very, you can pass the data by lifting the state, but it's very complex process. Okay, so we don't advise to use these concepts if you want to pass the data between the siblings. These concepts are not advised to use if you want to pass the data between two sibling components. Okay, it means here props and context will fail. Somehow it is failing. Now, if you cannot use props and if you cannot use context, can you guys tell me how can you pass the data between two components? Now, just try to analyze all your JavaScript concepts or any concept that you know and tell me how can you pass the data now. Nice. Using session storage, local storage, and cookies, right? We can use the storages. But what is the problem with these storages? What is the problem with the storages? If you store any data in your storages, then what is the problem? Yes, data will be not secured, right? That data will be visible to end users, right? That entire data will be visible to the end users. Okay, fine. Now we cannot use session storage, local storage, or cookies concept also. In that case, how can I pass the data from this component to this component? How can I share the data between components? How database comes into picture here? So you mean you will store the data in database and from product details, you will access the data again from database. We can do that. Yeah, we can do. Yeah. So apart from all these techniques, we can use your path parameter and query parameters. Path parameter and query parameter. Okay, to share the data. Okay, but one more problem with path parameter and query parameter is whatever data you will share as a path parameter and query parameter, that data again it will be visible to users. it will be visible to users, because path parameter and query parameters you can pass only inside the URLs. You can pass this only in the URLs. So if you are passing any data in the URL, again that data will be visible to the end users. Okay, that data will be visible to the end users. So what type of data we can send as a path parameter and query parameter means any data which is not sensitive. Non-sensitive data you can pass, okay, inside as a path parameter or query parameter. Example, IDs. You can pass IDs. You can pass names. Okay, you cannot pass password. You cannot pass email. Basically, you can pass, but you should not pass. You should not pass phone numbers. You should not pass pins. Okay, your ATM pins or any kind of password passcodes like that. So any sensitive data we should not pass as a path parameter and query parameter. Okay, so let's see how can we share the data between two components using path parameter. So let's assume here we have products component and here we have one card. Okay, I'm just adding one card, and inside that card we have one button. We have one button. Now this is my products component. In the same way, I have here product details component. Okay, this is my product details component. Okay, now what we will do, whenever user will click on this button, this product ID, we will add inside the URL. We will add inside the URL as a path parameter or as a path params. Okay, now once your data is added in the URL, then this path params we will access from the URL inside this component. That's it. So what we will do, whenever user clicks on this button, we will add the ID of this product as a path params. And whenever this component mounts product details component, we will access the data of that path params here. So this is how we can share the data. So first, let's see the first step. Whenever I click on the button, how to store the data as a path parameter. First, let's try to understand that. So for that, we have to go to the products component. Okay, now this is our button. Whenever we click on this button, we are navigating to this path. Basically, we are changing to this path. Okay, so here what I can do, I can add one curly braces. I can use backticks. I can add my path like / product detail. Now, if you want to pass any path parameter, just you have to add / and you can pass your path parameter. Now here I can pass product.id. So anyways, we are receiving, right, product.id. Here we are receiving product. So from this product, we can access ID and we can pass as a path parameter. Okay, now just check here. If I save my file, go back to my component. Now just check here. Okay, now we are in the / products path. Now if I click on product details, now see, I got added ID here. Now this ID is added. Again, if I click on any other product, maybe this product, see here I am adding ID. Okay, so it means the first step is done. We are able to pass the data inside the URL as a path params or path parameters. Okay, but there is one problem here. The problem is here we were expecting product details component, but we got here page not found component. Here we were expecting product details component. Now why product details component is not mounted here? Can you guys tell me why product details component is not mounted? Like if I click on this button, I should navigate to product details, right? But here why it is not mounted? Yeah, because we don't have any route with this path. Do you believe that? We don't have any route with this path, like the path, then your path parameter. We don't have any such route, right? That is the reason page not found you got. So now we have to configure one route where we should have the path. After that, we should have the path parameter. Okay. So here I will add, right, details. So let me just go back here. Let me add here details. Okay, instead of product, here I will say details only. Okay. Now what we need to do, somehow we have to configure that path. So I will go to the all routes. Okay. This was our previous uh, path which we configured. Now after these details, I am expecting here one path parameter. So how to tell to this route that this is the path, and after this slash I have a path parameter. How to tell to this route? By just adding one colon. So after slash, if you add colon, the next thing is considered as a path parameter. How many path parameter you can add? Any number of path parameter you can add, like this. So now here, how many path parameter I have added? 3 path parameters. And these are the keys of all those path parameters: ID, name, city. You can give anything here. I'm just giving ID, name, city. You can give any names. Okay, I just want to add only one path parameter. That's it. Now in your browser URL, if there is any path which is configured something like this, slash details, and after that, if you have path parameter, in that case, it will render product details component, then product details component will mount on the screen. Okay, so just check here. If I click on product details, now see, now I got product details component. Now if I click on this one, I got product details component. Okay, order doesn't matter. Routes order doesn't matter. Okay, you can configure in any routes. In any order you can configure. Understood how to add path parameter or how to add path params? Okay. Now how to access, right? This params I want to access inside my product details component. Using product component, I am adding the path params. But in product details component, I want to access that. I want to access this value 15. I want to access here. Here I want to show. So if you want to access any path parameters or your path params, for that, your React Router DOM is providing us one hook called useParams. Whenever you call this hook useParams, it will return one object. It will return one object. And in that object, all your path parameters are configured in the property format like this: ID colon 15. Like if you add one more path parameter, it will be like name, some name, like this. Okay, if you call this use params, it will return simply one object. It will simply return one object. And that object contains all your path params. Okay, now if you observe here, one thing, now see, here we have the ID, then we have the value. So how did we got here ID? So while configuring your route, you have passed some key, right? Here you have passed the key. Now you can access ID using this key only. So what can I do? I can simply go to the product details component. Here import use params. Okay, here I can call that use params. Now it will return me one object. I can just destructure that object if I want. Here I will say ID. Here I have extracted ID. Now here I will pass ID. Now see, I got 15. Now if I click on first product, I will get 1. If I click on second product, I will get 2. See, here we have 2. Here also we have 2. So using useParams, we can access the path parameter. Yes. React router DOM will take care of storing it. Okay. You need not to worry about it. Okay. Suppose here I have, instead of ID, this is just key name. I gave here name. Now tell me, will I be able to access that data? Now see, here I have 2, but here I am not able to get any 2. If I click on any other product, maybe this product. Now here the ID is 11, but here I am not getting 11. Why I am not getting 11? Because you passed key as a name, but you are accessing here as a ID. That is the reason. Now if I pass here name, if I say here name, then that ID will be visible on the screen. Now see, I got 11. Okay. So what I need to do, I need to make sure exactly what key I am using here. Whatever key I will use, exactly using that key only you have to access. Okay. Now, once I have the ID, here, what I can do from this component, I can send one request to a server. And with this request, I can pass the ID of the product. Now, what your server will do, it will just return that specific product information. What server will do, it will just return some response, which is related to one specific product. Now, once I get the data here, I can display that data here completely, right? Entire details I can display here. I can match here. Okay. So now to get the any specific product details, what you can do for that, you can just visit their fake store API. Go to the docs. Here we have get single product. Just click on this. Copy this API. Okay, let's go to the product details component. Now here simply I will import use state and use effect. Now whenever my component mounts, okay, I just want to send one request here. So I will just use fetch. Inside that, I will use that URL. Here I will take backticks. I will pass that URL because here this ID, I don't want to add code. I want to pass it dynamically like this. Now we know, right, what fetch will do. It will return one promise. Okay, convert that data into the JSON. Again, this JSON will return one more promise. So again, we have to handle. Okay, now once I get the data, I just want to console.log. Okay, let's try now. Now let me go to the products. Right click, go to the inspect. Let me clear all this. Now, if I click on any product details, now see, I got one object as a response. And in that object, I got the details of all that product. I got the details of all this product. Can I maintain one state here? And in that state, can I maintain one default object with these properties? Okay, something like this. Title will be empty, image will be empty, price will be empty. Okay, I'm just taking 3 properties. You can add all these properties. Now here simply I will say okay. Now here we need to update our state, right? Set state of data. Now here can I say something like this? Okay, state, or I can just create, I can create one image here. And title, or I will just create here price. I just want price here. Okay. So what I need to do for that? Yeah, guys. Is my voice audible now? Okay. Is there any disturbance from my end? Are you guys getting any other voice? Okay. So here what I need to do? Okay, simply I have to say state.image. Okay, and here state.price. We'll just add here dollar symbol, save it. Okay, no map. We are just displaying only one product details, right? Why do we require map? Here we are just in product details, we are just displaying one product information. That's it. Okay. So come back here. Now see, here we are getting that details. Now if I click on any other product details, maybe on this, I got that. If I click on any other product, maybe this one, Samsung 49-inch. See, I got 49-inch. Okay. Okay, so what we did you guys understood? What we did you guys understood? Is it clear for everyone? Is there anybody who got confused? Okay, I have drawn the diagram also, right? Exactly whatever we have drawn in the diagram, same thing we have done here. Whenever we click on this, first we have added that ID, only ID as a path params, then we have accessed the ID, then we send one request, got the data, and that data we displayed in our component. Now here we can display entire details. I'm not displaying entire details. Okay, you guys can display entire details. Here I'm just displaying image and price. You guys can just display entire details. Okay, you guys can create something like this user interface. Just create like this product details. Divide this into two sections like this. And here just show your image and show your details. Okay, you guys can create like this. Here you can show image. Here you can show image title, like that product title, product price, product category name, product description, product rating. Whatever you want, you can show it. Okay. Now my requirement is in profile component. Okay, I will go to the profile component. Okay, let me just explain you exactly what I want to do in the product profile component. Here I have a profile component. Only H2 we have. I want to add here one button. And here I will say add query params. Okay, now my requirement is whenever I click on this button, to the current path, I want to add query params. Now here the current URL is something like this, right? http://localhost 3000/product profile. This is the current path. Now whenever I click on this button, add query params button, to this existing URL, I want to add one query param like this, name equals to something like Masai. I want to add one query param. This is my requirement. Now, can you guys tell me how can we add the query params? We just seen how to add path params, nothing but path parameter. Now we are trying to understand how we can add query parameter. So anybody knows how to add query parameter? Okay, this is called query parameter. I hope everybody knows what is query parameter. This part after question mark. This is called query parameter. Okay. Now, if you want to add query parameter to your existing URL, then we can take the help of one more hook called useSearchParams. We can take the help of a hook called useSearchParams. Now, whenever you call this hook is going to return one array. This hook is going to return one array, exactly like our use state. Whenever you call useSearchParam, it is going to return one array. I can destructure that array. Now that array contains only two elements. That array contains exactly two elements. And those two elements are, the first element is search params, which is object type, which will be like a object type, and one function called set search params. Set search params. Okay, so whenever you call this use search params, it is going to return one array. It is going to return one array. And that array contains exactly two elements. Something called search params. Okay, and one more search params and set search params. Using this search params, we can access all the query params. We can access all query params. Okay, using set search params, we can add query params. Okay, and we can update existing query params. These are the two things we can do. Okay, using use search params, we can access query params, plus we can add query params, we can update query params. Okay, is it clear up to here? How to do, we will see that. But did you understood this concept? Okay, so first we will see how to add. First we will see how to add query param. So now my requirement is very simple, guys. If I click on this button, nothing but on click. I want to call one function, add query params. Just one function, okay? Some custom function. So I'm creating here something like const add query params. Okay, now if you want to add any query params, first you have to import use the search param. Use the search params hook. Now this hook we have to call here. Now what use search params will return? What use search param will return? This use search param, this hook will return what? Yes, it will return one array. And that array contains how many elements? That array contains how many elements? Only two elements. What are those two elements? One is search params. One more is set search params. Okay, now how can we add the query parameters? How can we add the query parameters? How can we add the query parameters? We can add query params using set search params. Am I right? Yeah. So now here, can I call that set search params? See, I'm calling this function. And this function will take only one argument, that is one object. Set search params will take one argument, that is one object. In that object, now whatever query parameter you want to set, pass those query parameters in key value pair as a property. Suppose I want to add one query parameter as a name, right? I told name I want to add with some value called Masai. So I will just add here like this. So in set search param, first I will add one object. It will take only one argument, that is object. In that object, we have to pass our query params. Now if I go back here, if I click on add query params, now see, I am able to add it. Suppose you want to add two. I want to add two. One more I want to add. I can add one more. I hope where your Masai is, in which city your Masai office or your basically your Masai platform is running. It's in Bangalore, right? Basically. Now, if I click on add query params, see, I got two things. Like this, how many query params we can add? You can add any number of query params. Understood how to add query params? Yeah. Now, how can we update the existing query params? So let's consider I have one more button here. Update query. Now what I want to do here, if I click on this update query params, this name value, this value we have Masai, right? I just want it to be React. Here I want to pass React. Okay, instead of Masai, I want to show here React whenever I click on update query params. Again, the same process, just on click. Directly I can define one function here. I can call set search params. It will take one object and just pass your objects here. This properties I can copy and I can paste here. And here I just need to say React. Save it. If you go back here, now see if I click, now see here we have name equals to Masai. If I click on update query params, I got React. I got React. Query params, right? If you want to do filtering or sorting, or if you want only limit data, then your APIs will be like this, right? Now see, this is query params. Now if you just send the request to this API, it will just give you only 5 users information, as only 5 products information. If you want to sort something, sometimes you have to send some data in your URL, right? From client to server, we have to say that I want the data in the descending order. So how you are sending that information to the server? Using query params. Okay, here I am not explaining the concept of query params. I am trying to explain you how to add query params, because I am expecting that you know already what is query params and what is the purpose of query params. Okay, again, that is JavaScript concept, guys. What are path parameters and its purpose? Already I am expecting you guys knows about this answer. In the same way, I am expecting that you know what is query parameter and its purpose. Okay, I am expecting already you know this. I am just explaining the concept on the top of that. On the top of that, I'm just explaining you how to add path parameter and access it. How to add path params and access. How to add query params and access it. This is what I'm trying to explain you guys. Okay, so here we have seen these two things. Now let's consider now I want to do something like this. Let me just go to the output. Okay. Okay, we have add query params, we have update query params. Okay, I have one more button here. I'm just adding one more button. Something called switch. Switch to help. I'm just adding here switch to help. So what I want to do, whenever I click on this button, I want to navigate to the help component. I want to show here help component. So what I need to do, whenever I click on this button, I want to show here help component. What I need to do? We cannot access directly that objects. We cannot use spread operator here. We cannot access these properties directly. Okay, now my requirement is if I click on this switch button, I want to show here help component. Can you guys tell me how to do that? How to use navigate? Yeah. So here basically what I can do, can I wrap this button inside the link component? Okay, let me see whether it got imported. Yes. Or can I just add two props? Can I say help? Save it. Can I go back here? If I click on switch to help, now see I got help. If I click on profile, I got these three buttons. If I click on switch to help, I got help. Okay, but whenever I am navigating to help here, whenever I am navigating to help, if I click on switch to help, I'm navigating to help. But here, whenever I navigate to help, here I want to add some query params. Here I want to add some query params. With this slash help, I want to add query params. How can I add? How can I add? Okay, just leave out. That is VS Code formatting. I just removed that. How can I add? Here query params. See, my requirement is if I click on profile, I'm showing three buttons, right? If I click on this button, I'm navigating to the help component, right? I'm navigating to the help component. My path is also changing to slash help, but I just don't want slash help. I want here query params also. I want like this. I want like this. No, we can, if you use set search params, then it will add to the existing URL. If you use set search params, it will add the query params to this slash profile. But I don't want to add to the slash profile. I want to add to the slash help. Okay, in that case, what you can do, manually you can add here. Here I can add manually like this. That's it. I got here, see, name Sagar. Okay. If you want to add one more, here you have to say city, Delhi. Let me click on profile. Again, if I click on switch to help, I got name Sagar and city, Delhi. So manually we need to add it. If you want to add to the same existing URL, then go for set search params. If you want to add to any other URL, manually add it. Okay, but now manually I am adding here, but this value I want to access. This Sagar and Delhi, I want to access here in the help component. How to access your query params value now? How to access your query param value? Gaurav, why fetch? How to access this value? This Sagar and Delhi inside the help component. Here I want to print it. Okay, tell me how to access your path parameters. How to access path parameters? How to access path parameters? Just now I have explained, right? How to access path parameters? Yeah, using useParams. How to access query parameters? I drawn, right? How can we access query parameters? We can access all query params using search params, not using use search params, using search params. Okay. So can I do one thing here? In the help component, can I import use search params? Can I call that use search params? Now tell me what use search params will return, what it will return, what it will return. Yes, it will return array. Can I destructure that array? Can I say search params only? Now using this search params, we can access the data. Okay, how to access the data? Let me show you. So this search params provides us one getter function, something like this. Search params dot one getter function. Okay, and inside this getter function, we have to pass one argument in the form of string, something like name. If I save it, if I go back here, now see, I got Sagar. Okay, if I click, I got Sagar. I want Delhi also. So what I will do, I will just copy this. One more time I will add here. Here I will add city. Okay, so search params will provide us one getter function. Using that getter function only, we can access the values of search params. Now, am I able to access here city, right? So what I am passing, QT I am passing, city it's okay. Now see, I got Delhi. Home, profile. See, if I click on this, it is adding to the existing. It is updating existing. But if I click on switch to help, it is adding to the help. And I'm able to access these values, Sagar, Delhi. Okay, if you want to do filtering, sorting kind of things, then you can use your query parameters. You can just tell to your server side people, like based on what parameter you want to do filtering, based on what parameter you want to do sorting. Okay, or like you can tell like page numbers also, right? So if you are implementing paginations, then you have to add your page numbers in the URL so that user will come to know exactly which page they are using. Okay. So I will show one practical example by implementing same pagination in tomorrow's session. Okay, guys. Today not, in tomorrow's session, I will just implement one pagination. Then I will let you know why do we require to add these query parameters in the URL. Tomorrow at the same time, we have the session from 8 to 10. Okay, tomorrow we have the session from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Okay, not 10 to 12, we have 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. And I think it is updated to you guys, right? Already. Okay, so I hope you guys understood it. Okay. Yeah. So can I do one thing? Can I go back to my auth.js? Here, anyways, it is false, right? But if I refresh my application, like if I refresh my application, which component we are expecting here now? If I click on enter, which component we are expecting here? Yeah, but I want login component. I don't want home component here. Whenever user visits, I want here login component, not home component. What I need to do in that case? What I need to do? I want here login component, not home component. Yeah. So we can go back to that all routes. Here we can say login. Okay. I need to import that login component here first. Now see, we got login, right? Now, if I click on this login button, I want to show home component. I want to show home component. What I need to do? If I click on this login, I want to show home component on this path only, on this slash path only. What I need to do? Now, if I click on login button, I want to show home component. And path should not change. This path should not change. Yes, we have to do the conditional rendering. Can I do here one thing? In all routes, inside this all routes, can I import auth context? Can I import use context? Can I call that use context here? Can I pass auth context? Now tell me what auth context, what this use context will return now? What this use context will return now? Yes, nice. It returns one object, right? And from that object, can I destructure is logged in property? If I go back to this auth, okay, here we are adding is logged in, we are adding set is logged in. I just want is logged in. So can I get that is logged in? Can I do here conditional rendering? If is logged in, if it is true, then show me home component. If it is false, show me here login component. Am I right? Now just check here. By default login, if I click on button, I got home. I got home. Again, if I click on logout, I got login. Is it clear? Okay. Now I will visit products. Now if I click on logout, which component we will expect here? If I click on logout, which component we will expect here? Uh, will we get the login component if I click on this? Will I get the login component? Why? Why I will not get login component? See, if I click on logout, now see, I'm clicking on this logout, but still I am on the products component. Why? Because whenever you click on this button, this path we are not changing. So now whenever I click on this button, I want to change this path. Okay. On the click of button, we want to change URL. Okay. So we can do this using a special hook called useNavigate. Using a special hook called useNavigate. Okay, whenever you call this hook is going to return one function. Remember, this hook is going to return one function called navigate. Whenever you call use navigate hook, it will return one function called navigate. Okay, now inside this function, navigate function, you can call whenever, wherever you want. And to this navigate function, we can pass some path here in this string format. In string format, you can pass some path. For example, if I'm just passing slash, so what this navigate component function will do, it will change our path to this slash. It will just change our path to this slash. If I add here profile, whenever you call this navigate component, it will change our URL to this slash profile. So now what I want to do, whenever I click on the logout button, here I want my path should change to slash. If my path slash changes to the slash, then only login component will be visible. So I will go to this button, logout in the nav.js. Okay, now here we have this logout button. Now, whenever we click on this logout button, what we are doing, simply we are making set is logged in as a false. So I need to make set is logged in as a false, plus I should navigate to the different URL. So for that, what I will do, simply here I will import use navigate hook. Now this is the hook. So just call on the top level of your component. Here I can call it use navigate. What this component will do, it will just return one function. Okay, the name of that function is navigate. It will just return one function. Now this navigate we can call here. This is just function, right? So we can call it. And in double quotes, I will just pass slash. If I just pass slash, it will navigate to the slash. Just check here now. Let me click on profile. For example, let me click on login. Let me go to the profile. Let me go to the products. Now, if I click on logout, I got login. Again, I can do login. Again, I can go home, profile, products, services, help. Now, if I click on logout, I got login. Yeah, we can use link component also. But here we can use navigate also. We can use navigate as well. So I'm just showing how navigate works. Understood how use navigate hook works? Okay, just use navigate hook will return one function. Using that function, you can change the path. Now my requirement is whenever I click on logout, I want to show profile component. Whenever I click on logout, I want to show profile component. What I need to do here? What I need to do? Yeah, we can add params also. You can add query params also. Now my requirement is if I click on logout, I want to show profile component here. Now if I click on logout, I want to show profile component here. What I need to do? Whenever you click on logout, you want to show profile component. How? When you can show profile component? If the path is slash profile. That's it. If the path is slash profile, then only you can show profile component, right? If I click on logout, now say profile component. Home, login, logout. Yeah. Now suppose here I want to pass some query params. I can pass it, right? whatever you want, suppose sort descending. Sort equals to descending. Okay, let me just go back to the home, login, logout. Okay, you can add path parameters, you can add your query parameters also using navigate function. Okay, now can I give you one assignment? Okay, now tell me which component I am showing here by default. Login. Now, if user is not logged in, I should not allow him to access this profile component. Here, see, I am able to access profile component, though I am not logged in. Here, product, here, help, here, help. All these routes I am able to access, but I don't want users should able to access all these routes if user is not logged in. Okay, now here I am showing login component, right? Whenever I am showing login component, I don't want to show this logout component. Sorry, I don't want to show this button. I want to hide this button. Whenever I am showing login component, I want to hide this button. What I need to do for that? I want to show logout button only once I log in. Once I log in like this, then only I want to show logout button, or else I don't want to show. Can I do in the nav? Can I access here is logged in property? Can I do the conditional rendering here for this button? Okay, is logged in. If this is true, then only show the button component. Now see, now let me make it to the login. Okay, now whenever I'm showing login component, here there is no logout button. If I click on login, then I got logout. Then I got logout. Okay, now my requirement is if I am not logged in, then I should not be able to access these routes. Here I am able to access the routes now, but I don't want to allow to access these routes if user is not logged in. When I should be able to access profile and product only if I am logged in. If I am logged in, then only I want to show this. I'm able to access this profile, product, services component, or else I don't want to do. In that case, what we need to do? Anybody? Any guess? First of all, tell me whether you understood or not what I wanted to say. Did you understood the requirement? Okay, requirement is if I am not logged in, I should not be able to access it. I want to protect these routes. So how can we protect these routes? Can I do one thing? Can I go to that all routes? Here anyways we are accessing is logged in, right? So can I write here one condition for this profile also? Is logged in. If user is logged in, then only you show profile component. Or else don't show anything, just show null. I'm saying if user is logged in, then only show profile component or else show null. So just check here what happens in this case now. Now see, user is not logged in. If I try to click on profile, are we showing anything here? We are not showing anything, right? It means profile component somehow we have protected. Profile component is protected. Now user cannot access profile component. But once user is logged in, now he can access profile. He can access profile. But if he is logged out, he cannot access profile. See, profile is not able to access. Yeah. So now my requirement is if user is not logged in, if we try to click on profile, I want to navigate him back to the login component. I don't want to show like this empty screen. I want to navigate him back to the login component. Okay. So if you want to navigate him back to login component here, instead of null, what we can do, we can take the help of one predefined component called navigate. Okay, navigate. We can just render this component. So I'm saying that if user is logged in, then show profile component. If user is not logged in, then you render navigate component. And this navigate component will take one props, that is 2. And here you can pass some URL. So what this navigate component will do, it will change your URL to this path. It will just change your URL to this path. Now see, if I go back here, now I'm not logged in. If I click on profile, still I am in the login. See, if I click on profile, still I am in the login. Now, if I click on login, again, if I click on profile, now I am able to access. But if I log out, I'm back to login, back to login. So like this, can we do the conditional rendering for all our routes? For product also, can I do here? Can I add here product? Can I do here also? Here can I say help? Okay, can I copy this? Can I do for this also? Here, if it is logged in, then only you access product details, or else navigate to login. Save it. Now see, user is not logged in. We cannot access profile. We cannot access products. We cannot access service. Service, okay, we can access because we have not written any condition. Help, we cannot access. If I click on login, now I can access all my routes. Now, if I click on logout, again back to login. Okay. So if you don't want to use conditional rendering, then you can create one separate component. You can create one private component. So what I can do here, I can create one protected component. Okay, here I am creating one custom protected component. Okay, here I will write one condition. Okay, inside this protected component, first I will access import. First I will access use context, and I will access here import auth context. Inside this protected component, I can call this use context. I can pass auth context. Now it will return one object, right? So I just want to destructure that is logged in property. Now here I will write one condition. If is logged in, if is logged in is true. If it is true, then what you have to do, you have to return children. And I will destructure this children from props. If it is false, in that case, you just return or you just render navigate component and pass 2 equals to slash. So what I did, I just created one protected component. In that I accessed context data, and here I'm just writing one conditional rendering. Okay, I'm saying that if is logged in is true, if it is true, return children. Okay, if it is false, navigate to slash. Now what I will do, I will go back to the all routes. Here I will import that protected component. Okay, once I have imported protected components, now let's consider help one. Here I don't want to use conditional rendering. Here I will call protected components. And inside that I will pass to this protected component as a child, I will pass my help component. Now, whenever in your path it is a slash help, first it will call protected component. It will call protected component. And here we are passing child as a help. So inside this children, help will be stored. Now here we are accessing the is logged in property value. First it will check if this value is true, then return children. Return children means it will just return the help component. If this value is false, then again we are navigating to slash, nothing but we will show just login component. Now see login, if I click on help, still login only. But if I click on login, now here I can click on help. I'm able to access help. Login. Okay, this is not, yeah, conditional rendering. We have to use conditional rendering only, but using if else, not using ternary operator. Okay, so this is how we have implemented protected routes. Okay, this is just custom route. Just we wrote some logic. Apart from that, nothing. We don't have any special concept like protected routes. We are just writing our own logic. Okay. So now, did we cover all those components and hooks that we wanted to discuss? We know what are browser router. Okay, we know routes. We know route. We know link. We know navigate. We know useParams. We know useSearchParams. We know use navigate hook. Guys, be on the mute. Okay. Apart from this, we don't know. I mean, you guys know what is navlink, but I didn't teach that. And we know protected routes. How to protect routes. How to protect routes. These are the concepts that we have learned. Okay, this is what I told. We will be learning all these concepts in routing concept. And we have explored each and every concept apart from navlink, because I wanted this concept to explore by yourself. Okay. Yeah, so that's all guys from my end. And this is what we wanted to discuss in the React routing. Yeah, if you have any doubts, feel free to let me know. You can unmute yourself and you can ask. In case if you don't have any doubts, yeah, you guys can leave. Let's join tomorrow and explore remaining topics. Yeah, navigate is a function, link is a component basically, but they both are used for same purpose. Kamal, use navigate is a hook, navigate is a component. Okay, but both are used for same purpose.